Yeah, and now comes the part when I actually start talking about the technical part of Tintin. So, in case you don't like techno babble, just skip this, okay? You have been warned. Tintin comics were drawn so simple, and yet the line was still so lively. And the covers on each album were just awesome. I mean, they were just work of art on themselves, and always made you wanna read them cause all the mystery they had in them. Like, look at this cover of Tintin in The Secret of Black Art. So mysterious as the entire album. Then there's Tintin in America. How on earth Tintin is tied and threatened by a Native American chief? Or Tintin in Africa, where, okay, yeah, it's sorta kinda obvious that this just. Okay, there were some mediocre covers too, but they did their job, as the covers anyway, because they just made you wanna read. And now comes the real techno-bubbly part. The history of Tintin format. One of the biggest changes in Tintin happened in 1932 or 34 depending on source, when publisher changed the customer. Okay, it really wasn't that big of a change, but it's always a change when a publisher changes. But even bigger change was the one that followed. Herc was introduced to charm, and this made Tintin albums more realistic and accurate, teaching Herc the importance of the research. And yeah, he already knew that, but this meeting made Herc to portray foreign people more realistic and less of a stereotype. Anyways, another big change happened when Belgium was occupied by the Nazis, who Captain America, Superman, and Wonder Woman were able to beat in comics, but not in real life. Anyways, German occupation and that war made paper prices skyrocket, because most of the paper went on the war effort and German's secret operation of making counterfeit money to devastate Allied's economy. So this meant that the Indian albums were to be cut from their original 120 to 140 pages to 62 4-color pages, making those pre-war copies of Tintin more rarer than a work in Atari Jaguar with CD add-on and the Holy Grail.
Actually, ever since I found this out, it started to bother me. Just the sheer thought of that there is Tintins that I haven't read. Yeah, they are republished, but they are the edited versions. They don't have that over 100 pages. They have that 62 pages of Tintin. Ooby-doo. And to be honest, I don't care. Yeah, if I can't read that rest 100-page operative storyline, what's the point? You keep printing this in hardcover editions. I don't care. I'm not going to buy them. Why is that? Because these paper editions are still in good conditions. What's the point of buying those hardcover editions? Only idiots are going to buy them. Add the missing 100 pages. Then we can talk.
Anyway, after that change in 1940s, it had found that format that we know today, and the older Tintin albums were redrawn to suit on that format. And then again, the next great change on Tintin albums happened in 1950, when Studio Herc was founded to draw those Tintin albums, so that the master of himself could just do the finishing touch and work more on the script. And now comes the really boring part, and the biggest techno-bubbly part of the whole techno-bubbly part. I'm going to talk about Tintin in Finland. And once again, if you want to skip this, skip it. The first publisher to Tintin in Finland was our dear friend Vesoi. And wouldn't you know it, they screwed it up. They changed the names of the characters and they made other minor changes, but that's not the reason why Vesoi screwed Tintin up in Finland. No, it was because they sold Tintin in hardcovers. It's not like today when you can find your hardcover comics and grocery shops and stuff. No, this was the time when something had a hardcover, it was treated like a book, so it was naturally sold on bookshops. This meant that the main audience of Tintin albums wasn't able to read them because most of them didn't live in big cities that had bookstores. So yeah, that's the reason why Tintin did succeed in 1950s Finland. But then Tintin had its more successful comeback in 1980s, when Ottawa started publishing Tintins. And this was due to the tip of a Swedish publisher who had been publishing Tintin since God knows how long, and it had been a big hit. So Ottawa started doing it. And they didn't change the content of the albums at all. And they didn't put Tintins in hardcover, they put them in paper covers. Meaning that the main consumers of Tintin would find them better, since now you just could go to the book section of any grocery and just see, hi, Tintin album. So then you just took it, bought it, and read it, and instantly fell in love to it. And then they kept publishing Tintins in somewhat messed up order. You see, the first Tintin album that everybody knows is obviously Tintin in Land of Soviets, but not in Finland. The first Tintin album was actually the Tintin in Red Sea. It was the same messed up order that Asterix's and Lucky Luke's are published in Finland, and no one in Finland knows the actual order for to read Lucky Luke's and Asterix's. But on Tintin, this would soon be changed. You see, when Tintin had his 75th anniversary, they took new edition of Tintin albums, and they even put this helpful list of Tintin's original publishing order. And yes, people, Tintin in Finland is even to this date the only known foreign comic on which everyone knows the real order. But what I found amusing is that they kept this old numbering still in these Tintin comics, even though everyone now knows the actual order. And they would only remove those numbers once they started publishing Tintin in hardcovers. And then there's some meaningless fan service. You see, in the older print, there is the back cover which has the current Tintin order which they were published. And it just has so much in it. And I miss it a lot. It's just that sense of meaningless nostalgia that one has. And then there's these pictures that were in the older print and are included in the hardcover print, but which the 70th 50th anniversary print lacked, and I always missed those. Yeah, they were just meaningless pieces of fan service, but it was just so much nicer to have them. Once again, it's just that meaningless nostalgia and fan service.
But wait a minute, I just realized they are having the Tintin and the Alphard as the last album in this new edition. As it should be, I know, but that just means that now they're starting to act like Tintin in the Shark Lake never existed. You see, I own the slightly older print, and in it ends in the Tintin in the Shark Lake. So, you know what that means. All of these all of these 24 albums that I own, they are all collectibles. Finally, I have something actually worthy of being a collectible. I suppose that's not so well working special edition of Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. Well, that concludes my personal tribute to Tintin. Should they make a movie about him? Why not? They already done it in 1970s with mediocre ones. Some of them were just plain bad. I haven't seen them yet, but I plan to eventually. But Spielberg and Peter Jackson, well, they can only do better. Even though I'm not completely approving that computer animation they are using. What's wrong with that old school drawing style? I don't know. But it's too late to find out the movie's done. But heed my words. If they are going to dub it into Finnish language, which they most likely will do, since they already did it with the Simpson movie, it caused me some severe nightmares. Because Homer sounds like his balls haven't dropped yet. Seriously, it's that awful. Makes me feel unclean just by thinking about it. Anyway, that dubbing thing. Use the cast that you had in that animated series. Use it. If you don't, I'm going to personally hunt you down, rip off your hearts, only to show them, before you die, that you are going to approve me when I say that you have none. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to Turku. Why is that? Well, I don't really like the cinema that's in Hämeenlinna. Granted that I haven't really been there, but I really like the cinema that's in Turku. It's a small thing, I know, but take a leap. So, I'm off to Turku to see the Tintin movie. So, there's nothing else to say then. Live long, prosper. Asamana is out.